The world's largest floating solar farm, Hangzhou Fengling Electricity Science Technology, a Chinese developer, recently completed the construction of a 120-megawatt solar project on the surface of the Changhe and Jiuxiang reservoirs in Xixi, Zhejiang Province. Following the completion of the first 200-megawatt phase in 2017, the array is the second phase of a 320-megawatt PV project. Hey everyone, how are you doing today? Before we proceed with this video, do not forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Kindly click on the notification bell to get updates on our exciting content. In today's video, we will reveal the world's largest floating solar farm. A massive civil engineering experiment is happening around 150 kilometers south of Shanghai, and it's making international ripples in more ways than one. The clean and green technology being tested in China's Hangzhou Fengling Electricity Science Technology Solar Park has the potential to fulfill 50% of the world's ongoing energy demands, while simultaneously providing employment and nourishing food for residents. So, what are the most significant advantages of floating solar? Is it likely to be implemented globally as a viable answer to the energy crisis? Today, join us on a journey into the world's largest floating solar farm by taking to the water. Many ambitious solutions have been presented as our civilization begins to genuinely engage with the necessary transition to cleaner energy sources. From massive offshore wind farms to massive hydroelectric power plants, the renewable energy sector is booming. One relatively new concept is so apparent that it borders on the absurd. Solar panels are efficient, clean, and improving all the time, but they require a vast footprint, consuming space that could otherwise be utilized for homes or agriculture near population centers. The power plant in Xixi, which is built on the Changhe and Jiuxiang reservoirs, generates around 352 million kilowatt-hours of green energy. The PV central inverters supplied by K-Star were used to install the floating solar farm. Solar energy and aquaculture operations are combined in this project. Fish farming takes place in the waters beneath the PV panels. However, a few large projects throughout the world have realized that storing large solar arrays on the water, particularly near existing hydropower facilities, is an appropriate solution. Experts envision that by the middle of this decade, up to 10 gigawatts of new floating solar farms will be operational. Lower transmission costs are one advantage of locating them on bodies of water already used for hydropower. It's clearly a major bonus if the infrastructure for transmitting energy to the grid is already in place. But it's even more ingenious than that. Solar energy and hydro plants are both seasonal. Solar is better during the dry season, whereas hydro is more productive during the wet season. As a result, they can help each other out through their separate lean periods if they work together. It's almost a no-brainer. Not only would the water cool the solar panels, allowing them to perform more efficiently, but the positioning of the panels may also aid in maintaining the reservoir's critical water levels. How? The panels minimize the amount of water that evaporates naturally, which is obviously a huge thing in drought-prone areas of the world. They may also help to control algae growth and provide a safe haven for fish and other aquatic life. What is the location of the world's largest floating solar farm? The Hangzhou Fengling Electricity Science Technology Solar Farm, which spans 300 hectares, over the Changhe and Jiuxiang reservoirs in Xixi, Zhejiang Province. China currently holds the distinction. The project, which was constructed in two sections, a 300 gigawatt-hour chunk in 2017 that alone serves 100,000 houses, and a later 120 megawatt tranche that costs approximately $100 million and launched a little over a year ago, uses some very novel technologies. Not to mention the inverters, which are a kit that converts the variable direct current output of photovoltaic panels into a usable alternating current that can then be routed into the electrical grid and then into your home. Inverters in this area must be built to withstand rainy and choppy weather. Shenzhen Kester Science and Technology, a Chinese inverter manufacturer, supplied the GSL 2500C MV and GSL 1250 sealed inverters for the massive Hangzhou Fengling facility. The two-phase project currently generates a total of 352 million kilowatt-hours, which should yield around $45 million in revenue per year. Furthermore, the massive complex, which required the state-owned Grid Corps of China to construct 2 new 110 kilovolt booster stations and roughly 9 miles of cables, is really beneficial to the local economy and marine environment. How? The solar panels are spaced evenly throughout the reservoir, allowing light to get through and supporting a healthy subaquatic ecology. Fish may live and prosper as a result, with the added benefit of the panels acting as artificial islands that protect fish from natural predators, such as birds. Locals can also go through precisely laid out channels and reel in fish for the local and national consumer market once they've grown to a suitable size. Economic evaluations of the setup have suggested that the worth of the setup in terms of income to the local fishing community might be as high as $5 million per year. Overall, it's estimated that the plant's eye-watering $260 million cost will be recouped in as little as 7 to 8 years after the power revenue is factored in. If the technology can be proven to work dependably, which it has so far, it might be a big game-changer in global energy generation. According to a US government study, if similar plans were implemented across the country's man-made bodies of water, the country could generate 10% of its national energy demands. That's without taking into account natural waterways or oceans. Waterborne photovoltaic or solar panels might generate up to 10,600 terawatt-hours per year globally, according to estimates. Global energy use according to 2018 data from the International Energy Agency is a little over twice that, at 22,300 terawatt-hours. And a number of projects throughout the world are attempting to capitalize on the early promising results of floating solar technology. In the Netherlands, a project dubbed Zon op Zee, which literally translates to sun in the sea, has demonstrated that a promising 17 kilowatt-hour array can be expanded up in a modular fashion while also absorbing unpleasant buffering caused by the region's unpredictable and continuously stormy circumstances. A massive 2.1 gigawatt floating solar facility at the Saemangeum tidal flats on the Yellow Sea coast is now being assembled by the South Korean government and is set to overshadow the Hangzhou Fengling Reservoir project discussed previously in this video. The Korean solar project, which will be many times larger than its nearest competitor, will cost over $500 million and thus be linked to a new startup cluster that is hoped to motivate the next generation of big-thinking green energy efforts. This and other daring projects, like the Chinese project, can only hope to reconcile future energy needs with the local people's economic and agricultural needs. And if they can fix it, it will send a strong message that floating solar is the way of the future. Connecting floating solar arrays to existing hydropower reservoirs around the world could change the face of the global energy system by meeting nearly half of the entire electricity demand. As reported by a potentially market-making September 2020 study by the United States Department of Energy's National Renewable Energy Laboratory, NREL, researchers believe that the watertop PV could generate up to 7.6 terawatts of power. Even with the production from the hydro facilities, this equates to around 10,600 terawatt-hours of potential annual generation, compared to global energy consumption, which was slightly over 22,300 terawatt-hours in 2018, according to International Energy Agency estimates quoted by NREL. The NREL researchers found 379,068 freshwater hydroelectric reservoirs throughout the world that may be used to house floating PV arrays. But they cautioned that further siting data would be needed prior to any deployment because some may be dry during parts of the year. Combining floating solar and hydropower is seen as having a strong rationale for a number of reasons, including the possibility of lower transmission costs by connecting two seasonally aligned power sources to a common substation and the facility of the two technologies to balance each other's electricity production. The ideal time to use solar electricity is during the dry season, while the best time to use hydropower is during the rainy season. Operators of a hybrid system may, in one scenario, employ pumped storage hydropower to store excess solar energy. That's it on the world's largest floating solar farm. Have you visited the site before now? Do you feel this floating farm would be generating more power in the future? Let us know your observations and thoughts in the comments section below. If this video was insightful for you, then go on and like this video. Please kindly subscribe to our channel and click on the bell button for more of our updates.